Sensei Beats.
All right, everybody, how's it going? Welcome to episode 4 here with your favorite otakus, your favorite anime fans, your binge-worthy people. But remember, we are just some weebs. Let's get into Dororo. Dororo.
Hey man, this man Connor got the crazy intro.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Here with Noel, Eric, and yours
And-
truly, Nitro, or Connor. So, as you guys know, if you watched last episode, our task was to watch Dororo and Beastars this week. So
Yeah.
I think we should probably start with Dororo since I was the one recommending that one. But what did you guys think overall? Did you like it? Was there things you didn't like?
I loved it, man. I honestly loved every bit of it. It's the fact that first of all, my favorite character honestly was Dororo. Can I say this Dororo's gender, or would it be considered a spoiler?
Yeah, I feel like I don't really know, honestly. Yeah.
I guess it kind of got revealed just by saying that. So
Right. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
did I know? Because I didn't say whether Dororo.
did because everyone.
If you
was
don't
thinking
want to
Dororo-
officially know, pause and
boy.
fast forward 15 seconds.
yeah,
Go for it. You're in the clear.
All right. But yeah, it honestly caught me off guard. I just love how she just handles herself and just helps Hyakumaru out by worrying about the money, handling the
Right.
financial, being financially stable, especially at how old Dororo is. And it's kind of it's so funny watching her stroll along, so head high.
Right.
And being so full of herself, even though she's just some puny little character. And it's I feel like I love, and then when they alternated to her little side story, the map,
Right.
I love that part. Honestly, I love
Yeah,
I love that little segment
Yeah,
of the series.
for sure.
gave-
I think that
Dororo
was
some
one
love.
of my favorite things of the show too. I did a video on the top 5 reasons why you should watch Dororo. And I one of my reasons was that cool concept of the story, because it's she's this young character, but at the same time she's also the big sibling role,
Exactly.
kind of teaching him how to live and teaching him how to survive in the world, because he obviously what happened to him kind of has made it so he hasn't really been able to adapt to real life, which is pretty unique. I haven't really seen
Mhm.
anything like that before. But, yeah. I don't know, Eric, what did you think of the series?
I thought it was fantastic. I actually learned more about it through watching Noel's video. I didn't know it was a series from it had this much
Yeah.
background information. It was a series from the late '60s.
Yeah, 69. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know
That's
that until
crazy.
watching Noel's video, and he kind of actually taught me more about Dororo's backstory and how old it really is, and how it's I didn't know. It's the same thing with Devilman Crybaby. Devilman Crybaby was a manga from the early '70s.
Really?
Yeah,
Right.
that's another what I had to watch list later. But
I do need to watch that. So.
yeah, it kind of reminded me a lot of that because I even look back at the older Dororo, and this is much better. They really did this series justice with what they did with this.
For sure.
I would say a reboot. That's kind of what they did with Devilman Crybaby. I'd say Devilman Crybaby was a reboot from the original, but still followed the original premise of the story.
Right.
But what I thought about it, I thought it was fantastic. I'd give it I'd probably give it an 8.5.
Yeah, I
in
think that's
all
what
honesty.
I gave it.
I'll give it a 9. I give it a 9.
Yeah.
I gave it an 8.5 or a 9 on my Mal list. I don't remember exactly.
The only thing, my only real gripes about it were just kind of the side characters that came along around on the road. They just were very some of them were kind of lackluster, and you thought they were going to do more but didn't. I compared it sort of to Samurai Champloo, how they did the side characters and their significance in each episode, even though you knew they weren't going to come back. They just made a way better impact than what they did in Dororo.
Right.
From any of those animes where they're just on the road the whole time and they're just on a journey. They need to have some of the characters just make more of an impact. And in Dororo, they made it seem like a few of these characters were going to stick around or be there, but they never did. And that was one thing I didn't like. And plus the ending it wasn't terrible, but I thought it could have been a little bit better. But other than that, I really have no complaints about it. I thought it was executed fantastically.
You know, knowing, like, thinking about it, when you mentioned the characters, like, I was like, yo, you know what, you actually are right. And it's like, it's the fact, like, for example, me specifically, like, I wanted that, that girl that was going to marry Hyakumaru to stay around. It's like, no, hold on.
Yeah, there's a few like that.
Yeah, the few characters I wanted to actually tag along with them, but they
don't make them seem like they're going to be significant and then just cast them away. Like that's why. I mean, you guys have both watched Samurai Champloo.
Yeah. Right.
All of the side characters in Samurai Champloo were done perfectly.
I don't remember any of them.
Really? Well, I mean,
they're so
you don't remember them, but they were done right. Like, they didn't make too much of an impact or too little of an impact.
Right.
Like, they still made great episodes, and there wasn't like an episode where you're like, okay, is this person going to come back? Like, what was the point of them being there? Are they significant or are they not? I thought they just, because Samurai Champloo is set up the same way where they're just on the road the whole time and just seeing different people in each episode. And most of the characters, weren't around for more than 1 or 2 episodes besides the main 3. But I thought they just executed that a lot better because they found a good middle ground to put the side characters in that obviously aren't going to be there like in the next episode.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of like Cowboy Bebop too. Like each episode's like its own story, kind of.
Yeah. Doro was a little bit like that too.
Yeah. It's like kind of like a blend. There's like each story is like getting like trying to fight a demon or something and take something back from the demon, whereas like there's also that overlying story of him trying to like get to his end point. It's like point A to point B, but like all these side stories kind of come off of the main line.
Yeah, definitely.
And one thing I wish they added to Dororo was like being able to tell the difference between the ghouls and the demons. Like I wish I knew whether they were dealing with a demon and a ghoul without Dororo or Hyakumaru. The monk dude mentioning that it's a demon. I was like, oh, it's another demon. Or I had no idea when Hyakumaru was going to get his other limbs. Right. And it was just like, I feel like they could have added more, information into Hyakumaru and what he was, how do I say it? What he was working towards.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's the little input I would give on it. Right. But I love, and Eric mentioned the ending. Yeah, I do agree with you in terms of the ending. I feel like the ending could have been more, how do I say it, more impactful. It was a little lackluster.
Yeah.
And I feel like it did its job in terms of the series.
It did its job. It was just hard. It was hard to follow up the ending because there were so many cool things that happened throughout the series that the ending just didn't seem like as significant.
Yeah, that's true.
Like for me, one of my favorite parts was, when like he's fighting like that sand demon and like he gets his voice, and it's like it's through all these other things he's getting his body parts back from like defeating a demon, whereas this is like, first time he's kind of lost in a sense, and he feels like this excruciating pain, and the emotion in that scene was just like it was intense, man. That was crazy.
And am I the only one that I would want to see Hyakumaru after, he got his vision and stuff, like an after story kind of?
Yeah, an after story would be good.
Yeah.
It's a big fan thing that Hyakumaru and Dororo are going to end up together.
That's a big age gap.
Yeah.
It'll take time, but...
It'll take time, but
have you ever... It kind of remind me, have you guys ever seen the anime Claymore?
Yes. I haven't seen all of it, but I've seen.
I've definitely seen it. Yeah.
That's a big age gap right there, but it's different because it's the female who's older than the male. And then later on, because I read the manga too, and I think the manga is way different too. Like they really switched around a lot of things, but it does keep true to that. And his age, like he does get older to where I guess by then he's legal, even though Claire kisses him when he's technically kind of underage. But it's a big kind of that age gap round, but people don't really say much about it because it's a male and a female. The female's older, so people don't get as upset about that for some reason. But
if it's reversed,
it's reversed, of course. It's that kind of sexist bullshit. But
Yeah, but I don't know. I think one of my favorite things too with like Dororo is like kind of the underlying story aspects of it as well, where it's kind of, you know, how he's like battling at the same time, trying to either, he's kind of like teetering on the balance, like either he can become a demon or he can become a human. And it's they do a really unique way of showing kind of like the inner human greed amongst all these different stories that he's going through.
That's one of my favorite things about Dororo was the morality. I think the morality was probably the greatest concept of it, and how Hyakkimaru, like, the more parts he gains back, like, the less and less human he kind of was becoming throughout it, and he was starting to gain his lose his sense of humanity.
Exactly,
He knew the more he would gain human parts he would gain, the more less like his morality would go down. He wouldn't become the person he was before.
Right.
And it was a really hard decision to decide to keep going, and I thought it was a really cool concept.
Yeah. It's kind of like Buddhism, you know, and especially in that time, like the era that they were set in, you know, because Buddhism, I'm not sure if you guys know anything about Buddhism, but you know, it's wrong to, you know, to want things, you know, to urge things. So I can kind of see how they made Hyakkimaru more, you know, of a demon as he became more human. It's kind of contradictory.
Because like his whole thing is like, you know, getting the arms and his body parts back, but then like at the same time he's constantly having to like fight that anger of like, this is what his family did to him, you know.
And am I the only one that hated Daigo and Tohamaru? Like,
oh, the dad.
Yeah, the dad and the brother. Like,
no, I did not like them. Although I hated the dad more than I hated the brother, because I feel like he just was kind of like, he was in a weird place.
I feel like the brother just wanted to be like his dad. Like, I feel like
he just wanted to be accepted.
Yeah, he could have just went on his own. He could have just did his own thing, you know, his own mindset. He originally had the right mindset. You know, I was like, oh, okay. Hyakkimaru has another supporter, but no, he's gonna want to fight him and try to kill him because that's what his father wants. That kind of irked me a little bit, but
I feel that.
They did my man Hyakkimaru dirty, man, and then when
because then he ends up becoming kind of a demon himself, you know.
Exactly.
All the wants, the root of despair.
Yeah.
Being greed.
Who's your favorite character throughout the series?
My favorite character, probably Hyakkimaru.
Yeah, his character design was so cool.
Yeah, it was definitely dope.
So badass, and I liked how he just came from nothing. Even though they kind of explained what his situation was, and it did give a good explanation to why he was so OP. Like, I was like, he's so OP, but he's literally like the most crippled human being or thing you could imagine possibly. Like, how is he going through life so well with what he has?
Yeah, literally. Nothing.
Can we discuss the opening for Dororo?
I love the opening intro. Yeah. The first intro was the best. The second one kind of wasn't as cool.
Yeah, the first one I
can't remember what the first one is.
You gotta give it a play.
It's fire. I think the first intro was fire.
Really?
Yeah.
It's been a while since I watched it. Okay. Well, maybe we should start segueing over to Beastars.
You want to kick it off, Eric?
To the furry side, okay.
The furry side.
Yeah. I know Connor watched it, and it's your first time watching it, Noel. So what's your full opinion on it? Because I watched some of your video, but you said you had a few little difficulties fully trying to interpret it.
I feel like they just went right, like they basically in the beginning, right? They started off with the death of the alpaca, right? And I was curious and like, what happened with the alpaca? They barely ever even mentioned it. I'm like,
wait, what?
The alpaca, like the little.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna say this right now. Next season, right to it. Because some people who watched the first season of Beastars are like, oh, what's up with the next arc is called the Murder Solution arc.
Okay.
And it handles it beautifully, and it's the first like the first episode will be right to that.
Okay,
like, because
they kind of go away from it.
It comes right back up and becomes relevant, and what they do with it is fantastic. But that premise, it comes back very soon because, you know, a bunch of stuff happens with like the Meteor Festival and everything else with Legoshi and the play, which the play is one thing people don't know about the play is the play was entirely supposed to be about Louis himself. If you look up Adler, the Dr. Adler is the guy who coined the personality disorder, inferiority complex. And that's what Louis has. And the whole play was designed to be about Louis and about him and what he's dealing with and stuff. And it was very hidden. Most people don't know that, but all of it was set out to be about Louis himself.
Am I the only one that really just did not like Adler? Like, Adler just kind of pissed me off watching the show.
The play or the character?
No, just the character himself. Like, I feel like he was just so narcissistic.
Well, he's supposed to be kind of based off of Louis because Louis is kind of narcissistic to an extent, but it's based off of him thinking that he's inferior to everyone else.
Okay.
So a lot of that's supposed to be a reflection on Louis himself because a lot of people don't really like Louis at first. Like a lot of people think he's kind of a dick and a spoiled little child, but when you get to know him, he's actually goes through the struggle harder than any other character in the series. And his backstories, one thing I didn't like that the anime did, the manga went into way more depth about Louis' backstory, and his backstory is way more fucked up, and you can see why it's given him these issues. And there's been a few videos on YouTube explaining how the anime kind of left out more of his backstory, but you get to learn more about his backstory, and he definitely has a great character development in the next arc. But yeah, it's like I was all right with him. A lot of people hated him at first, but then he just like does a total 180 and you end up loving him in the next arc. Like he just does all kinds of character development and goes on a really great path.
Right.
And I feel like okay, so basically another thing that irritated me, as you were explaining thing, like you're basically explaining why Adler is the way he is, but what he did to Haru in the Meteor Festival and how he just left her to be, and then Legoshi had to go chase her. I feel like, and then he surprisingly just comes out of nowhere at the end. I'm like, come on.
Well, like, this is the explanation between that, because what happened to Haru and how he kind of, and especially after the mayor talked to him and essentially told him like, there's nothing you can do. This is just how the world is. Louis has basically the whole world. He's the most realistic about the world, because the world he lives in is pretty fucked up, and with his body and his stature, he can't really do anything about it unless he gains some form of power. Like he's not like Legoshi, and he can't just fight people or do anything like that. He's significantly weaker than Legoshi is. And Legoshi, I think at first Legoshi punched him, he didn't really Legoshi didn't realize that, like, hey, like, you know, he's way weaker than me, and this is a whole gang with weapons. Like he can, like, there's no chance Louis could have probably done anything about it. And the mayor sort of like talked him into thinking that, you know, there's nothing you can do about it, kid. And he didn't want to say what he had to say, but like he kind of just felt like he kind of hit this whole I wouldn't say, because Louis has kind of nihilistic personalities where he's just like, there's no point to anything. Like no matter what I do, nothing's going to get better. There's no point to anything. And that's one thing that he goes through. And in that situation, I kind of think it was a little justified to say that, because like, what can he do? He can't fight. He can get a weapon maybe, which he did. But after Legoshi did that, that really drilled into his brain that you can't fucking do anything about it. Legoshi just made you look like a complete bitch too. Like, and it got in his head. So it actually drove him to start doing something and go a little bit crazy too. Like he actually goes a little bit fucking crazy coming from that, because that really impacted him deeply. Like he didn't want to say that. He wanted to do something about it, but he just felt hopeless and inferior. And that's where a lot of his personality comes from. And in the manga, this is one thing they left out in the anime. Louis takes a freaking gat and sticks it down Bill's throat and makes Bill say that I'm superior to you. Like he goes like fucking insane.
Jesus. Which one's Bill again?
Bill's the tiger.
The tiger.
Yeah, I did not like Bill.
He gets better. He actually has his own little development. He becomes more likable, but he's essentially a likable asshole, and that's his character.
The likable Chad.
Yeah, that's pretty much what he is. But he is a dick, though. That's part of his character. But he's redeemable. It comes up. But
I'd say my favorite character was the panda guy. I can't remember what his name.
Oh yes, yeah, he was dope.
I thought it was such a cool concept to be like, you know, he is an herbivore, but he's also like, you know, one of the most muscular types of herbivores there are. So it's cool to like see how drastically different like a carnivore is to an herbivore, where like, you know, Legoshi could just hit like Louis playing around with him, or just like, you know, like, you know, fighting at school or something, and it like actually like hurts him.
You know, uh, I really like. Okay, so basically the panda. You mentioned the pandas. I
Yeah.
really liked what they did, and I don't think a lot of people acknowledged it. But they mentioned that the panda had to force himself to be a herbivore because in real life, pandas aren't supposed to be eating bamboo. They do not digest bamboo, and they're supposed to be carnivores, but they don't eat meat because that's what they're used to. You know, they just used to eating, you know, bamboo and vegetables and things like that. So I kind of like that they acknowledge the fact that they like pandas aren't actually herbivores; they are
Oh,
carnivorous animals.
Right.
So
yeah.
that's a nice little.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people would have acknowledged that though.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of these things, because like when I watched season 1 of Beastars, I kind of had around the same idea as you guys in some ways, but when I got to, because I mean they don't have this, season 2 isn't out, but I read the manga and through to the Murder Solution arc and all the way so on. It kind of like after like during Murder Solution arc, it kind of like, okay, yeah, this makes sense. They're picking this up here, like kind of like your questions from the last season, or you're thinking this about a certain character. And like when they made, this is what made me fall in love with the manga, is it had characters that you didn't necessarily like, but they just shine with their personality and their character development. And you just love them, even though you kind of hated them at first.
Right.
And I think Beastars does the most beautiful job of doing that. Like they set it up so perfectly to make characters that you don't think are really that redeemable very redeemable. And it kind of made me think too, it's like maybe I've been kind of harsh on some people and I need to give some people a second chance who deserve it. And that's one of the things about Beastars, especially if you read the manga and you go to get as far as I am. It's very anti-cancel culture. It has a huge preach about that, and it shows, well, I mean, there's one character that's like kind of like irredeemable as fuck. I'm not gonna spoil it. Like they do have a fucking ultimate bad guy that comes up, but like the other characters, like you kind of like, that's what I love about the morality is you think about the characters and you're like, wow, this character is a dick, or Legoshi's better than him. But then like towards the end of it, you're kind of like questioning, like, is he though? Is he really any more moral than any of these other characters? Maybe in a way he's not. Like with like him and Louis' morality compared is like one of the best comparisons you can give. Because at first you just think, okay, Legoshi's definitely a better person. But then you get to find out after getting to a certain point, you're like, is Louis actually a better person?
Right.
Like they added so much in that you're kind of like flip your thoughts on what you thought before. Like it's very, very interesting. I think the Murder Solution arc is probably one of my favorite arcs in any manga. Like it just it just took the story from where it was and just like shot it up here for me.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I feel like even in just the first season alone, they definitely kind of like Dororo talk about like touch upon like a morality in a sense, you know, like like carnivores like not being allowed to eat meat, but like they have that innate sense of like desire to eat meat. So like even when, you know, Legoshi like smells something or whatever, and he just like gets that drive and like feeling that predator kind of mentality. I think it's really cool how he has to like constantly fight that.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think one thing, this YouTube channel, Bonsai Pop, they did a very good video about the first season of Beastars, about the anime. And what I think the first season did the best job of was kind of explaining privilege in probably a way that everyone can agree with, about how it's not completely black and white, and how, let's say like carnivores, at the end of the day, it's like, they don't really have to worry about getting, like Legoshi doesn't have to worry about getting killed or eaten like Haru. But at the same time, Legoshi faces more social ridicule and it's put in more of his way. And I mean, Haru does to an extent too, but like, it's like in some ways, like Legoshi has it way easier. In other ways, he doesn't. Like, it's like two different sides of privilege. Like maybe in one way you're privileged, but in another way you're not. And it's all kind of, especially in the world of Beastars, it's all determined by how you're born and things that you can't help. It's like the real world. And I thought they did a perfect job of reflecting that from Beastars to the real world.
Right.
You know, I really wish they showed Legoshi more love in the first season. Like, in terms of like, not even just the way he was, but Haru too, man. Like Haru, my boy Legoshi, he was trying.
It's
he was
that
simping,
robe.
He was simping.
It's that romance is so, it takes a huge turn. It's not what the anime is going to make you think it is, because the anime makes it sound so much more romantic and it's going to do this or it's like this, but once you read the manga, you're like, okay, this is not what I thought it was going to be.
How many chapters in the manga right now?
190. I just did 190 yesterday.
It's a lot. I gotta read Haikyuu too.
Yeah, and it's
you has like 450, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
And I almost wanted to make a video. I have other videos kind of centered, but I kind of wanted to make a video because like towards like more of the manga, I wouldn't even say that Legoshi's like really a simp at all. I would actually argue that Haru's the simp.
Oh yeah, she definitely is.
With how the story goes from there, like I would say that she's actually the true simp and Legoshi isn't, especially with like how it's been in the recent chapters and how he's been thinking. But yeah,
I'm a fan of the Legoshi Haru ship.
Really?
Yeah. Everyone's.
I'm more of the wolf. I'm more of what's her name? The wolf, the female wolf.
Juno.
Juno, yeah.
Juno, yeah. I'm more of a Juno and Legoshi shit.
Ooh, I was about to say, man, I don't want. I feel like I'm spoiling too much if I go into it. But if you go on any page, the fan art will essentially show you what's going to happen. I'm surprised you guys, or maybe you guys could predict this, but yeah, Louis
and Juno.
Yeah, he gets it.
He hits that, yeah. So I gotta ask. This may be spoiler, but is at any point does like one of the herbivores start eating meat, or, like try to become a carnivore?
Louis does.
Oh.
Louis. Okay. I'm not gonna go too much spoiler, but next arc, our Murder Solution arc, Louis essentially goes full Scarface. Like he goes hard as fuck. And
I'm gonna have to pick up that manga, man.
Like the manga just after, like, because in my opinion, I thought because some people like the first season or the first two arcs because it's more slice of lifey and more into this, and some people.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah.
Some people end up not liking it as much because it becomes more shonen.
Yeah, I really wish it was more action in it.
Oh, it changes. You get more of it. Like anyone who reads it will be like, yeah, Beastars has really changed. Like everyone's, it still keeps its charm, but at the same time, there's more things at stake.
Right.
But it gets a lot more violent. A lot more things
that's what I need.
Are happening.
That's what I need.
Oh, it does. It doesn't hold back. It definitely does.
Oh, my battery just died. All right, hold on. I got this.
Yeah,
you're frozen.
Yeah, my battery. I'm gonna switch it out right now. Sorry.
You froze, but everyone says it becomes more like, because they're like, we don't want any action. We just want it to be about slice of life and like romance and stuff. And I'm like, it still has that, but it does a good job of carrying it from there. It's just that it gives you more entertainment.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I think it goes down more of the Hunter x Hunter route of shonen. It doesn't go down like the freaking Dragon Ball Z or like the I don't know, the more traditional shonen route where it's like really predictable.
Yeah, see, I'm not like I've never been like a huge.
Well, me turn off my camera.
I've never been like a huge fan of like,
but
just straight slice of life stuff. Like I like it when they add that to like Code Geass, for instance.
Yeah,
there's a lot of slice of life aspects in that, but it still has like its cool like strategy and like tactics, and also it's cool fighting scenes. So I like stuff that definitely kind of like blends it really well together.
One of the reasons why I love Beastars so much is because it blends all of those perfectly, and it progressively becomes more action and more I'd say even more philosophical in some ways. It just gets more advanced and still picks up the pace of the action and like all the horrible things happening in that world, because the world really needs reform, and that's the point of the Beastar. You'll find out, but the story takes a complete 180. Like it is not and it still keeps true, but it's not the same what you would be expecting from watching the first season. Like I was caught off guard with like how much shit changed.
Right.
Yeah, honestly, that's what I was hoping for. So I'm gonna have to pick up.
It'll pick up quick. Yeah, next season you'll get that.
Because now like you got me so intrigued in what happens. I might just read the manga too.
Dude, I binged the manga in 2 days because I was given a fucking rumor that wasn't true. I thought Louis was gonna die, but Louis doesn't die, and I was like, fuck, I need to read through this manga and see if it's true or not. And I just binged the whole thing in like 2 days.
That's a lot of reading.
Oh, I did, yeah.
in
Do you
That was
have
my
all the
first
volumes?
I just read it. There's like 20 volumes out right now and only like 9 in English.
Right. So where can you read them?
Oh, I just type in Beastars manga read and it's just all there.
So
Uh,
'cause I've
Yeah,
always
and-
found trouble. Like I've never really
Yeah.
known where to read, like other than having like a membership to like Shonen.
Oh,
Weekly
I don't
or,
pay
like,
for that.
Crunchyroll.
Use Manga Dex or use
Are they apps or websites?
it's a website.
Okay.
Yeah, I just use the website. I just pull it straight from Google and use Manga Dex or just if you type in Beastars read, you'll just get like a bunch of sites that'll have all the mangas and volumes right there for you to read. And for my new releases, I get them straight from Discord the morning they come out in Japan. So
Oh,
And
so there's
then-
like a Japanese person that translates it.
yeah, and then translates it. And that's how I get my early chapter reviews. And yeah,
That's cool. Interesting.
Okay.
yeah, and
Oop.
it's just like it's crazy because like I haven't gone back to like the first season in so long. Because after I got caught up, like the first season's just like so irrelevant to me.
Right.
Because I get a lot of arguments with people on Discord because I'm just like, yeah, the first season was cool and all, but like it's just not as good or as exciting as the rest of the season. So it's kind of like faded away from me. I still have a good understanding of it and I've talked about it enough, but
Right.
it's just kind of become a little irrelevant to me at this
Yeah.
point.
Because, see, I really wish I was where you are right now because I feel like I just watched any other shonen anime just for furries.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if I still feel this way, but I honestly feel like I enjoyed watching BNA a lot more than watching the first season of Beastar, just because of the fact that BNA was just a lot more it was a lot more
More
entertaining.
entertaining. Yeah, it was definitely more action oriented and entertaining. The only reason why I scored Beastars a little higher than DNA is just because Beastars had a way better plot and way better premise. And
Mhm.
my opinion on DNA is I think the plot was probably the weakest point. It wasn't bad, but
Right.
it wasn't the
It's
strongest.
like a 6 or 5.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Beastars' plot and just how much nuance there is into the whole world
Right.
of Beastar. Even in the first season, just like all the social issues they touched up upon. And I've actually reread it, and each time I reread Beastars or reread an arc or chapters, I pick up something I didn't even know before.
Right.
Like the Murder Solution arc, I think I've read through that like 4 times because I did a whole video on it. And it's just one of my favorite arcs. So like each time I read it, still to this day, I pick up something new that makes me appreciate it more.
Right. I think
Yeah.
the ultimate question then for you, Eric, is who's the better wolf, Legoshi or Shiru?
Oh,
Legoshi.
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 Yeah, he's still my favorite. Ashiro's up there, but maybe if I get another season because there's just more material to work with Legoshi.
Right.
But yeah,
Yes.
him and Louis are my favorite like character duos of all time, and they end up developing like the most insane bromance, and that's why there's so much like
Right.
there's so much shipping and like gay fan with them
Yeah.
because if you read the manga more, like they become best friends like Killua and Gon status.
Okay.
Like they become like
Okay.
that close. And then
Okay.
everyone's all wondering like, what the fuck happened to Jack? I'm like, Jack's still his friend, but Louis is just a little bit cooler.
Which one is Jack?
Sorry,
Yeah.
Jack, the golden retriever.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
bunch of memes about that too. They're just like, Legoshi's just like, yeah, I'm sorry, he's just a little bit cooler than you. Like, I mean, and I, like there's all these like really harsh memes about it because like Jack's a good character, but he's not nearly as interesting or does as much bad
Yeah.
as Louis does.
Mhm.
I can
And
imagine.
Louis just pulls a total 180, and Legoshi kind of saves him from himself. And like Murder Solution, I highly recommend just pick up the manga because when people talk
Yeah.
about the anime, I'm like the anime has kind of just lost relevancy to me because it's like I'm just too invested in the manga and what happens from
Right.
there. But I really want to see what they do with season 2 because they made a few mistakes in season 1 that weren't in the manga. Like the manga was a little bit more violent, it was more graphic, and they left out Louis' backstory, which kind of pissed me off. But everything else was done very well. I thought they did the play really well, like the
Mhm.
action scene with them fighting in the play. I thought that was done well, even though when Bill scratched Legoshi's back was just covered in blood and like the scars were like really, really deep, and they kind of nerfed some of the violence in the anime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They always do that. I don't.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
It's rated TVMA on Netflix. Like they can push the
Yeah,
freaking
that's
thing
what I'm
next
saying.
to
Yeah.
it.
If you guys think Beastars is censored, read Tokyo Ghoul. At least.
Oh no, that is worse. That's
Yeah.
worse. That's objectively worse.
Right. I've only read like the first like probably 6 volumes of Tokyo Ghoul.
It's a long.
5 or 6,
It's a
but
lot.
It'll make you not like the anime.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I liked the first season, but
Yeah.
the second two, or
Yeah,
one
it's
of
like
them isn't even canon, right? Like
yeah. No, well, it's not that it's not canon. It's just they didn't follow it the way like manga
right.
went. Like, but I would say I honestly love the execution of the ending of the second season.
Yeah.
And
Right.
yeah, it was like with Kaneki. I mean, it's Tokyo was like how many years old right now? I'm sure like almost. So I loved the scene where Kaneki was holding Hide with the blanket covered. It was really aesthetic and like
Oh yeah.
it was beautiful.
Does he
Yeah.
eat him?
Yeah.
No,
Hidon or Hide or what?
yeah, does Kaneki eat him?
Yeah, for some reason I thought he ate him.
Yeah, but I would say Beastar's manga, Tokyo Ghoul manga, Beastar's manga, the anime holds a little more true to it, and
Yeah.
it's way better executed. And the anime looks nice too. Like, I think they did a good job adapting it to CG. But like compared to Tokyo Ghoul, just took like after I watched the Tokyo Ghoul anime, I loved it, and then I read the manga and I was like, I kind of hate this anime now.
Yeah.
Like with Beastars, I was like, hey, it still holds true. It's still good, but like with Tokyo Ghoul, I'm like, yeah, this is way less metal. Like they just the manga is so much more graphic. It's like significant.
Yeah, I haven't read up to
So-
like, the torture art scene with
They better not take that away in season 2. Something similar happens in the Murder Solution arc, and if they take that away in the anime,
So when you guys read manga after watching an anime or watching a season of anime, do you pick up from the beginning of the manga, or do you pick up from where you left off in the anime?
I've done both.
I've done both. With Beastars, I actually picked up right off where I left off in the anime.
Okay.
Later I went back and read through the manga in the beginning because I just wanted to figure out what happened next.
I feel like if I just pick up from where I left off, I feel like I'm doing a sin. I feel like I'm sinning. Like like I should.
I don't know. I was on a mission that night. Like I was too emotionally invested.
That's the same thing with me and Hunter x Hunter. I was so into it. Like when I finished the chairman election arc, and I just like bought the remaining 3 volumes that are after like the anime ends, and I just read them right away. And then I eventually went back and I've started now buying each volume, and like I'm reading the whole series, but taking it slowly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but then with Demon Slayer, I watched the first season, and then I went back and bought the first volume, and I've worked my way up, and then finished all of the manga.
So, do you have like a manga collection? You buy them?
Yeah, I kind of have this bad obsession of I like to have hard
physical,
copies.
Yeah.
Hard copy.
I kind of got it from my friend JP because he does it with like DVDs and Blu-rays, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool to have a big collection. So
this man might have a collection like Joey.
Yeah, not that many. Yeah, I probably have like maybe 50, 60 volumes of various series.
Yeah, I started trying to collect hard copies mostly with games. Then after a while, like I just couldn't keep doing it. Like I not just the money, but I just felt like there'd always be more and I'd never be able to complete it. And then I got this PC and I'm like, shit, I can just get everything for free. I don't need to fucking.
That's true.
Right.
See me, I have manga, but like I got them from my brother, and they're just like random volumes.
Right.
Like my brother used to have a serious Naruto collection. And I'm talking like the OG Naruto.
I did too. I sold mine.
Yeah, he had Naruto, and then he had the Shippuden ones, and I don't know how.
That's a lot.
Yeah. And
I also don't really like reading like the electric. Like it kind of bugs my eyes out if I'm staring at the screen reading too much. Personally.
Yeah.
So that's why another reason I like to have the books.
I feel like so much easier to get distracted when you're reading it on the phone. I feel like I'm always finding myself doing something else while I'm trying to read. Like while I was going to school down, I'm from New York City, so I think like it's easy for me to take public transportation. So when I was going to classes, it was so easy for me to just read and binge a whole bunch of chapters. But now I'm like, oh, you gotta go do this. They gotta go do this, and it's so hard. And I feel like it'll be so much easier if I can be like you, Connor, and just open up a book, manga, and just read it.
I know for me, there's a certain feel to it. Having
it is
pages, just smelling them when you open up the fresh book.
Yeah, they look crisp. No, the only issue with manga is it's just they're expensive, especially
Yeah.
for new volumes, unless you're getting old ones.
Or shonen, because they're only like
Yeah, and once you're done reading it, you probably won't pick it back up again for a while.
for a while.
You
Yeah.
run out of space.
And it's hard when you're trying to like make content on it because the actual books, like with Demon Slayer, I caught up and read. I bought up to like volume 18 or 15 or something like that, and then like the other ones were coming out at like a month or two apart. So I was like, oh, I'm not waiting to read the rest of the series. So then I started reading that one on like the Shonen app or something.
Oh yeah, I download all my manga if I'm going to do a video on it. That's how I've done it with all my Beastars videos, because there's no way to really make it on there. And also, I mean, it's not relevant to me now, but like if I do want to get monetization in the future, it's hard to use anime clips to get monetization. A lot of it's copyright, and with manga, I can use as much manga footage as I want, and I'll still be able to monetize it.
You can so you can put in like clips from the actual manga and won't get striked.
No, none of all of my Beastars videos have been able to be monetized. The only ones that aren't able to get monetized are the ones where I use anime footage. All of my manga footage is all able to get monetized. I know tons of people who make content are able to get monetization off of just doing manga content, because none of it's really copyrighted, because you're just using pictures.
So you just take a screenshot or like a part of like a page.
Yeah, I just I do it is I take because if I'm doing a Beastars review, I get the whole chapter, and then I just right click on each page that's singled out, and I just save it as 1, 2, 3, so I don't lose track of it when I'm doing my reviews.
So you read manga on your computer?
Yeah, I do.
That's interesting. I've never thought of reading manga. I feel like it'd be so much harder with a big.
I always read, partake in my favorite recreational activities, whatever it may be, and then I just lay in bed and read it.
I mean, there's your phone too. I do it a lot on my phone as well.
My phone, yeah.
Okay.
Usually I use my computer. I usually just use my phone. I usually use my computer if I'm actually doing like research on it and I'm trying to do a video.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, and luckily with manga, it's a little more, you have to read more into it. With anime, like, because we'll talk about this right now, but like I just finished Agresko season 3, and I thoroughly just sat there and focused on that, because I was just like, I'm just trying to take in as much as possible getting this. And that's probably, out of any anime I've watched, that's one where I literally just sat there and just focused on everything that was happening.
Right.
To really take in all of it, because I'm planning on doing like some videos on it and probably real soon. But yeah, there's a lot like to take in, like just from the anime. If you just really sit there and don't get distracted. And I didn't text anyone while I was watching it. Sat there and just listened to it.
Yeah, it's hard for me to do that. Like I always end up freaking taking my phone and like
me too.
I get a text or like a notification. I'm like, and then I have 10 minutes later, I'm like, wow, now I got to rewind this episode for the 10th time.
Yeah, I've kind of been like that with Vinland Saga. I've still gotten a decent grasp of what's going on, but there's a few times where I've taken out my phone, especially because I'm watching it subbed. I'll be honest, I think it's better dubbed. I actually prefer the dub more, to be honest. Some of
the new dubs, man, they're coming out pretty good.
Really?
Like, I actually recommend Agresko to watch it dubbed. I think it's better dubbed. And one thing about it, because I know you're gonna watch, that's for next week. I'd recommend not only watch it dubbed, but each season is significantly different. And each season, I don't know how the fuck they pack in so much into such small seasons. Like how they do such a great job when the episodes are like 15 minutes long, and they just pack in so like they continue the story, even though season 3 kind of left off on a cliffhanger. A bunch of people are mad about that.
Yeah.
Is that on Netflix or where?
Yeah, it's on Netflix. The first season feels like a furry version of The Office on crack. And then the second season is more plot driven. They just kind of flip their script entirely. And the third season I think it's the best. I think it's some of the best like of anything I've watched all year. Like I was just dumbfounded by how good it was and how like they executed the character development flawlessly. Like I don't think I've seen a show do character development that well, especially with a character that you thought his character development would be really simple and would just be like, okay, he's gonna get it, and then that's it. But it took you along for a roller coaster with what they did with him. Like they just did a fantastic job at his character development. Like it was just flawless how they did it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to start it.
Yeah, it's like it's not what you expected of.
It's like no other show.
I've never seen anything, any memes or any previews, ads, anything for it. So I have no like I'm going into it blind.
Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah, definitely. Season 2 is what made me fall in love with it, and season 1's pretty good too. But like, it just the season 3. I mean, what the fuck did they do with this? Like, it's so freaking different, but so good. And at the same time, like, because they like to fuck with the fans, like the people, because a lot of people are obsessed with this show and they really like to fuck with them. But this season, they still did at the end. But this season really gave something for everyone. Like, I don't think anyone left feeling disappointed. Well, some people are because of the ending, but the ending was just the ultimate cliffhanger of all time.
Right.
Because you can't say that they didn't or did, but it's a lot. It's very relatable too. Like, I'd say this is probably the most relatable show on earth. Like, I've never been able to relate to a show this well, especially season 3. I was actually getting kind of emotional. I'm like, I really feel what's happening to him because I've been in the same situation too. Like, this exact same thing has happened to me where there's really no right or wrong answers, and all your friends might tell you to do this, or you're a dumbass for not doing this. But at the same time, like, it's not completely black and white because I'm not going to spoil too much of it, but you'll find out.
Okay. I'm
Yeah,
excited to start it.
Yeah, even the intro, the opening itself. Like, I started watching Aggressive because of my girlfriend, and let me just tell you, it was like a punch in the face watching it. Like, Resco is.
It's something else. It's a whole new world.
It really is. Like, there's no show quite like it. Like, especially once you get past the first season, it's just like, what even is this? Like, it's just like, I could just think about it for days and just how much like secret hidden messages and how much sociology they pack into this little show. Like, this show, it's made by the Hello Kitty company too.
Right.
Yeah. I did not know
by
that.
the company. Yeah. It's like, they're essentially kind of Hello Kitty characters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it's like it's made for adults. Like, they swear and drink all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely is. It definitely is a show to watch. I recommend it to anybody. It's hilarious.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay. So what do you guys think of Vinland Saga so far?
It's pretty cool. I like it. I mean, I've never seen an anime Viking show.
Yeah, it's very different in that sense.
You know,
the fight, the action scenes are pretty badass. I don't know how far you guys are, but there's some intense action.
Oh yeah, no, it's like it's pretty.
Have you guys seen Thorkel yet? Or Thorfinn?
That's up to part. That's the part I want to know.
Okay, dude, I can't wait for you guys to watch him. He's badass.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think so. For next week, what shows are we gonna talk? Like, for sure, Vinland Saga.
You guys have to watch after. You guys finished the first part.
Okay, because I'm almost done with Vinland Saga, and I'll just get off the Clannad. I watched all of Agretzko, so.
Okay. So I'm gonna watch Agretzko. I finished Vinland.
So Vinland Saga and Agretzko.
Yeah, I finished Berserk. So I think I can do that.
How far are you in Berserk?
I have not started yet.
Oh, you haven't.
I'm on the first episode. Second episode.
Yeah, you might want to just because let's see how much is that, because you probably have the most to watch out of this week. As always.
Yeah.
You always have like the longest watch list.
Yeah, because Berserk that's 26 or 25 episodes, and Vinland Saga I think is also 26.
That's 24. Vinland's 24. 24. Yeah, and then
you have to watch a whole season. Oh, Agretzko's only 10 episodes.
Yeah,
how are we doing all of Agretzko? Like, should I? Because I haven't seen any of it yet.
Yeah, you haven't seen any of it.
You can get through it fast. Like, you can like each season is like an hour.
It should take like each season.
Like,
yeah.
10 episodes and they're 15 minutes long, and the finales are usually 20 or 25. Oh yeah, and the Christmas special is a 20-minute episode.
Where's the Christmas special?
Type in A Very Metal Christmas, and it's right after the events of season 1. It ties in. The whole episode's just about Haida and Retzko, sort of, and it kind of gives him his own episode, which it massively fucks with fans if you watch the rest of season 2. But season 3 brought it there. Like, season 3 just, man, they really did a good job of not just turning it around, but just taking it in this direction. Like, I had no complaints.
Cool. Well, I think I could definitely pound out 3 of those.
Yeah, you could. Agretzko is very bingeable.
Yeah, if Noelle has been watching, 50 episodes this week, then I can do 3 seasons of that.
It goes through a lot faster too. It's shorter than most anime.
I don't know how I'm doing it, man.
I think we should probably just push Berserk until maybe the next.
I think I can do it. I'll
You can get it done. You can get it done.
If you get it done, you get it done, man. I mean,
hey, man, I can do this. I gotta tell myself I can do this.
You got this. You got this.
All right.
You know? Just put a little bit of some vodka in your bubble tea, then you're good to go.
It's gonna be me all weekend.
Yeah.
I don't really drink, but my friend, he likes to drink, and then he's like, "I'm gonna take you to the bar and do all this." Like, I'm balling right now, and I'm like, I know it's gonna happen. I'm trying to go to the mountains up north. I'm trying to go to Flagstaff or go up to because Arizona is all desert, but you can go right to the mountains and get really cold weather. There's even a ski resort and everything.
Really?
There's vegetation. You just have to go up north because Arizona is mostly mountain terrain. It's actually cold weather. I just live in the desert area in Phoenix, but yeah, no, up north it's so much fun. There's like a really cool brewery out there and just a bunch of national parks, and there's like a giant meteor crater we wanted to visit. Like,
that's cool.
All kinds of fun things to do.
So do you guys usually watch anime when you're sober or no? Or both different?
It depends on what you define as sober. I mean, because I'm from California and I'm from the West Coast, so like everyone I know smokes weed. Like, if you smoke,
yeah. I mean, I'm from Vermont, so.
Oh yeah, no, Vermont's huge. Yeah, everyone there freaking smokes weed. I actually haven't smoked weed since I was 18 or done any other drugs. I used to smoke weed like every day. I was smoked every day since I was like 11 or 12.
Yeah.
And so on and so forth with other substances, but I kind of, when I moved out here, I just stopped doing everything. I still would drink because after I stopped smoking weed, I was like, I just drink like every day, and I drank a lot when I was in Paso. But when I came out to Arizona, I cooled down on the drinking. I quit smoking cigarettes. I completely changed my lifestyle around, and I've tried smoking pot maybe once or twice here and there, but it just isn't enjoyable to me. I personally just don't like being stoned. But I'll do kratom from here and there. That's kind of, it gives me a little bit of an energy boost here and there.
I've had kratom like twice. It's pretty intense stuff, I think.
Oh, really? How many pills do you take? I only take like 8.
Well, it was like powder. Like I made it into like a drink. So it was like legit.
Whoa, because like if you take a lot, I heard it fucks your day up. But if you take like 8, it just gives you a nice little buzz.
Yeah. Yeah, my friend gave it to me. He like said it was basically like a matcha tea, basically, and I was like, okay. So I put a bunch into like a drink and drank it. And literally, like I got pretty sick, dude. I couldn't move. Like I was just in bed, and I was like, oh, I feel like I'm gonna throw up.
Yeah. No, but usually, I've watched anime like here and there. I've watched it drunk, or I wouldn't say kratom really fucks me up, but usually I watch it sober now. When I was in high school, though, I always watched anime stoned. I was always big as fuck anytime I watch anime or drunk or on whatever. And because like high school, I also a few times like on shrooms or LSD. I don't really like hallucinogens or them anymore, but like I had my days. I did a lot, like high school.
Try everything once, yeah.
Yeah, no, I was down that road in high school. I did a lot of stuff in high school. California, like West Coast, it's inevitable if you live there.
Oh yeah. It's a whole new world out there, yeah.
Yeah, like when they talk about California and other states, they're not lying.
Right.
Like it was like that for me growing up.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I definitely give weed part of the reason why Hunter x Hunter is like my favorite of all time, because when you're stoned, you're watching Hunter x Hunter, dude, like it's fucking nuts.
Oh, I bet. I could only imagine like, well, okay, there's not enough Beastars to really go off of, but like if I was like high watch, because that's another stories I could just like think about. Even Agretzko, my friends watch that shit high as fuck. My friend Johnny just like cooled out like a few fucking dabs. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna get really stoned. He was just laughing his ass off. He's like, dude, this show's so great.
Yeah.
He's like, what the fuck is wrong with this show?
Right. Oh yeah, dude. Good times.
Definitely.
Well, is there anything else you guys wanted to talk about today? Anything else we missed?
I think that was good. I think we got a good amount of.
Yeah, you got a good amount of content.
Yeah.
You know what to talk about next week. I have a lot to talk about next week. Like, you think I can talk about Beastars forever and go into minor details and everything about that world? Like, Agretzko is another one of my passions, and I can go on with that for days.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we got a solid episode today and a solid list for next week. So
Oh, definitely.
Okay. You want to finish this off, Con?
we're signing off. All right, guys. This is Just Some Weebs, episode 4. I hope you guys enjoyed. Sub to Notaku Noel, sub to Veg Senpai, and sub to Nitrous Corner. And stay tuned for next episode, guys. Until then.
Peace out.